So I clicked start streaming, and
I forgot I gotta be on the
YouTube. It's starting. We're on YouTube now. It's on.
I was on the wrong page. I was ready to stream it from the wrong page. Our first official. Is it our first official?
Yeah.
YouTube stream?
Yes, it is.
Live now.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Already a title and everything. SPACtacular. I like it.
With a question mark, right?
Oh, wow. I sound good in here.
Are you listening?
Yeah. I'm muting now. Okay. I'm muted.
Cool.
That sounded good. Okay. Where's the chat happening? There. Oh, great.
I'm just going to change it to live chat. Boom. Taylor Johnson. By the way, Joe, Taylor emailed me some.
I saw.
Yeah.
I quickly saw some. What would you call that?
Oh, we'll have something. I don't know
There's
if
a
that
term
light's
for
bugging
that.
me or not. It's just light kind of bothering me.
What's up, Taylor?
Oh, man, it's a little better.
What I'd be interested in finding out later is can we comment as the channel?
Yeah, it says antsmarching.org. Say something. I can do it right now.
Oh, you can.
There it is.
I must have to.
I'm signed in with it.
I wonder if I can later. I don't have to do this today. Cool.
Awesome.
What else do we need to warm up on? Thanks, guys, for joining. Trying out YouTube Live. Please give us some feedback. Let us know how it is. Are we editing this, or are we just going live with the YouTube? You know what my question is? Is the version that stays on YouTube for long term going to be this version, or are we putting an edited version up? Does that make any sense?
Edited version. I record it.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. So this is live only. You guys are only going to see this, and you can never watch it again.
That's right.
The version that's going to be up there is not this
Unless
version.
people start ripping this. Screen recording.
Comes out faster than the band's YouTube streams.
Let's see what we got, son. Okay.
Actually, let me unmute me and see how I'm doing from sync from my side.
Quality doing okay, everyone? Does it look good, sound good? Levels are good?
Wow, it's on sync on my side.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's great. Facebook was tough. It could have been a combination of things, Joe, because I'm doing the window capture here, or the display capture, and then parsing it down. If I was to move my Skype window where you are, it would screw up. That's the downside. And I can't have things lay over the top of it.
That protected now.
But it seems to be less laggy than if I try to capture the application itself. So whatever it's doing.
I'm curious if I close. I popped out the chat. I wonder if I close the video, if the chat will keep going. Let's give it a shot.
Maybe.
Okay, I've closed the video. Now I'll wait for a chat.
Thanks for the check, Jen. I mean, Sarah.
Did you hear that story yet?
Well, I just know about the Charlottesville thing.
Oh, there's more. There's more from this weekend, and it involves me.
Yeah? Should we save it for the episode?
Save it for off the air so I don't have to embarrass myself.
No, heck no. Are you ready to go?
I haven't looked over, but yeah, let's do it. Let's make it work.
And everyone, remember, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because we're going to try to keep things going with content.
Yes,
I'm going to start
I think
recording.
we can do more things when we have more subscribers. We get more features, so please subscribe.
I'm going to do the intro.
We should say that subscribe thing in the actual podcast.
We will.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm recording. I hope my computer doesn't melt down.
You're listening to the antsmarching.org podcast, the new brand of AM radio.
Okay, everyone. Welcome. Joe, how are you? It's so good to see your bright and beautiful face.
Yeah, am I still as burnt as you blamed me for being last time?
You could put it on the picture behind you. It's pulling the bright burned reds out of your face, I think.
There's no burnt.
That
I'm not burnt.
Polish veneer that you got.
I might have bags under my eyes because I just got back last night at about midnight from the nice 8-hour drive back from Saratoga with all my tailgate stuff. Then got a little bit of sleep in and put in some work hours and right here with you. Right here with everybody for the podcast.
With all that gear in your car?
What about the gear?
You ever gotten pulled over with all of your tailgate stuff?
Why would you say that? No, I haven't.
Well, so you mean not yet?
Yeah, you just. Why would you ever say that? I haven't ever gotten pulled over.
That might be an interesting conversation. Like, what is all this gear, sir?
Well, I didn't get to. I got home at midnight, so I didn't get to take it out of my car, and so I parked it at work. And my coworkers all saw it, and they said that it was some dead bodies in my back seat. It's my whole back seat is filled with tables and coolers and golf clubs and all that good stuff. And I have a blanket over it to kind of like shield it all. But it could definitely look like I have bodies in the back seat that I'm trying to hide. So that was the story at work today.
2 feet high of styrofoam and cardboard fast food wrap. Do you look like you've been living out of that thing?
Yeah, because normally I keep my front seat open, but I even had crap all on the front seat too because I just got home and I didn't even touch it.
Well, I'm glad you made it home safe.
It looks pretty good, but it's like one of those things like you think your house is neat until somebody comes and visits, and then it's like, oh no, it was a mess.
Yeah, it's like, oh, people are coming over to visit. We have to make this place look like nobody lives here.
Quickly.
Well, we want to welcome everybody. This is our first go at streaming live on YouTube. We did conduct a poll on Twitter last week where we gave people the choice of what they would like to see us live stream on Periscope, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. And I thought Periscope had it in the bag because Periscope is a Twitter product. So if you're on Twitter, chances are maybe you've been on Periscope a lot. It actually came in last place, which is really weird. And in the middle was Facebook Live, which I don't know if any of you run a page on Facebook, but if you ever browse to that page, it takes like 15 full seconds to load. It just feels like the heaviest. It feels like your computer's so slow when you're on this Facebook page. And so combined with other things, I'm not a huge fan of Facebook, so I'm happy to explore other avenues. And then YouTube Live was the winner, which again, I would have thought that'd be the last place one.
And to think we've like hit so many different streets. This is what probably our fourth one, because I think we start with Ustream back in the day.
Yep, they stopped, at least for free, allowing the way we used to do it. So we had to explore other options. Then we stopped doing live streams at all. Now we're
and then there's some we tried that we haven't actually gone live with. Amazon one I think we played with a little bit. Was that something Amazon one?
Amazon has a chat conferencing called Chime, but that's not a target to stream it to.
Anyway, this is probably for another podcast.
Yeah, to our non-DMB podcast, which might happen after the tour. Somebody asked
we
about
talk
that.
about it more. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Somebody asked about that. We'd love to. Maybe after the tour, right?
Yes, when we're having enough trouble just to fit in time to do the DMB podcasts, let alone add another one to it. So, what do you got there, Matt?
Same old, a little LaCroix. How do you pronounce it?
I say LaCroix.
I think it's LaCroix.
I feel like I should know because look, I'm wearing my France jersey here. I'm sporting it after the World Cup win. I actually wore this thing all yesterday, so put it back on today, so it's nice and fresh for you. But figured for the podcast I'd break it out.
Well, congrats. I like reading. I follow sports, right? I've played sports my entire youth growing up, but it always seems like people are so eager to bless what they're experiencing as the best ever. And so reading Alexi Lalas, and I like Lalas, to be honest with you. But to listen to him talk about the World Cup, and this is the best World Cup ever, and it's like, yeah, because Fox won the rights and you're broadcasting. That's why it's the best ever. Like, very little is the best ever. But
we live in the moment too much, and we have a hard time putting perspective. And you could probably relate that to DMB also.
Well, I did think about that because I hear that the two-step you guys got night 2 was the best ever. Like ever.
It was pretty good. But yeah, I think that might fall into the same dilemma.
Well, we will get there. Let's start off with, we've had 5 shows since we last convened last week. We've got, oh my goodness, wow.
I brought a whole bottle.
I'm sorry.
Joe, I brought a whole bottle.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking some wine from Adirondack Winery, Meritage.
Oh.
Brad, who I stayed with at SPAC, is a winemaker, and he gave me this little goodie for when I left. So thank you, Brad. And I'm going to enjoy.
That's not one of those 40% off special wines, is it?
You remember when I had those with the stickers?
What?
You remember when I had those wines with the stickers, huh?
No. What are you talking about?
Oh, I really bought like a whole shopping cart of wine that had like those big bright orange 40% off stickers, and I had them for the longest time because I bought so many of them. They were on discount, and I could have swore I probably used one on a podcast with the sticker probably still on it.
Some jokes write themselves.
Cheers.
That looks nice. Cheers, buddy.
Let's to the DMB.
To DMB, and it looks like a somewhat rediscovery of form, at least improved form. I'll say that, relatively improved form. We'll get there. Because you were saying it wasn't a trend before. Are you saying, does that mean there's a little bit of a trend? Well, yeah. I mean, now you're talking like about 10 shows since they've started doing some debuts, right? And you hate to look at it from a never be pleased, but all that it makes me smile. And then it says, well, what the heck was the first 22 shows of this tour all about, really? It's like, you know what, those are over with. Okay, fine. But I do have to look back and be like, what's going on there? What happened?
I think the same thing, especially with the openers. Like, did we just didn't want to get creative, or maybe we just determined finally let's do something different. I don't know. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's the band, catalog-wise, talent-wise, clearly, is capable of anything up there any given night. And I would say overall, maybe the trend is they're a safer band, right? They're not the band that goes on Letterman in '95 and plays 41 when nobody even heard of that song yet at that point. Like, they're a safer, more polished performance act. That's okay. They're older.
They're in a part of their career where that's probably the best thing. Right. Maybe take more risks early on, right, trying to break out more.
Because specifically, I don't care if they go ahead and play Last Stop and they screw it up. I'd rather hear a screwed up Last Stop than no Last Stop either. So, but we got
from a variety perspective. You don't want them to play Last Stop for 30 shows and mess it up all 30 shows.
Correct. Yeah. And I think those days are gone anyway, given vocal stress and things like that. So we've had 5 shows, but the first one was Toronto at the Budweiser stage, and I don't think anybody really went into these Canada shows thinking it was going to be anything other than kind of a radio show layup, right?
For sure. I think I mentioned on the last podcast, that was one of the things when I was debating on going to these shows. I was like, they haven't been the best. They've been radio shows, and there was years where the band did not go to Canada. And so they've been going to Toronto for the last couple years now. And I think they finally felt, okay, we've done Toronto enough times now that we can finally stop doing the radio shows and break into something new. And sure as heck, man, Toronto definitely surprised me.
Well, they've been opening with a Come Tomorrow track, if not every night, certainly almost every night.
It was every night until then, right?
So this opener, they didn't, both track 1 and track 2, tour debuts. They go Big Eyed Fish into Lover Lay Down. Okay. Yes. And you know what's funny? I mean, Big Eyed Fish is great. I've shared my thoughts that 2.0 Big Eyed Fish is nowhere near 1.0 whatever. And it's not extraordinarily a rare song, I would say. It's nice. It's one of those songs that I think is played just the right amount, actually. But I certainly expected, like, oh, they're going to do Bartender now, because really it's turned into a glorified Bartender intro in recent years. Right. And they go into Lover Lay Down. That's fantastic.
That is pretty crazy. Just straight out of the gun. Like, I didn't even spread the love around, just kind of slapped you in the face with it.
And I want to put a pin in that, what you just said, because yes. But then I mean, Don't Drink the Water, and then you kind of fall back, but they bring Hunger for the Great Light back out. They're starting to get into a rhythm with Sledgehammer, which I like. I think that sounds really good. It sounds like they're having fun.
Yeah, crowd likes it.
It's a fun song. Yeah, I like Sledgehammer. You got the debut of, you got a Nancy's Warehouse, and then Grace Is Gone, which is another tour debut, which is tragically underplayed, I think, historically.
I don't know. It's the right amount of played for me. I don't need more Grace Is Gone.
So it's, okay. Well, its historical rarity is 20%. So it is it's that magic number for me. One out of every 5 shows. So
yep.
I think I probably just like it more than that.
Yep. I
also think Sans Violin, again, it's one of those songs that loses something. But when I think about really catchy songs with good hooks, good music, not to compare the two songs, but just like take a pop song that you think is just really well written. You know, Barely Breathing by Duncan Sheik? Like super catchy hook, just a classic pop song from the 90s.
Can you sing us a little bit of it?
No. Everybody out there, if you don't know what it is, then my point is missed. But anyway, I think Grace Is Gone is darn near a perfect country pop song. I think it's extraordinarily well written. I think if you lead single that instead of Where Are You Going, maybe, I don't know, maybe that album has a little different pull to it. I love Grace Is Gone. So to see that come out is just awesome. It would be cooler to come out with Prelude, which would be neat to see.
That would be very cool.
Be really cool. And then you got the fourth Cornbread. It looked like a pretty good show to me. I mean, quite a few tour staples, but that's to be expected. But I mean, definitely 3 debuts. Okay, north of the border, big up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was that only like what Satellite? Is only kind of like maybe the traditional single in a sense. Still got Samurai Cop, no change there, but yeah, I mean, I would say Toronto got one of the better Toronto shows venue wise. I mean, outside of Bella Fleck guesting on a
30-minute,
40-minute, yeah,
which I was there for. Ooh, maybe I'll make a stub for that. I gotta have some that I have that you don't, Joe. Gotta make some for us. And so
yeah, Toronto was a killer show. That and then where do they jump after that?
They go to that Blues festival there in Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Yeah, the Canadian War Museum. What's that? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
Right. So haven't really played Ottawa that much, and so if you were going to guess a radio show, you would guess right there. I would say they haven't been to the city in a long time, so they're going to kind of treat it that way, and they're not going to deviate too much from songs probably people want to hear that haven't heard it from a while. So you end up getting a lot of classics, a lot of You and Me. You get a Crash Into Me. What Would You Say? Obviously Ants, P&P Rapunzel. So I feel like that one's more of general staples. Jimmy Thing, your favorite, Matt.
And you know what? I'm not even mad. It's a show that any festival show, especially a one-off, you're playing to a different audience, and a lot of people who are there aren't even there to see a DMB. I think
that's a good point.
So
there are a lot of people there that probably weren't the primary reason to see was DMB.
Right. But then we come back south of the border for basically what's America's venue, I would say at this point.
Wow. You're just really trolling everybody.
I had to troll. I did troll Alpine. And I don't care. I'm from upstate New York, so SPAC is still, I consider it my home venue, and I do miss it. And seeing like the sets this weekend, it's just a show. Just seeing Joe's pictures, seeing my family posting pictures there in the tailgate, in the lots. It pulls at the strings a bit.
Oh,
it does. And so, I mean, I went to Alpine in 2016 for the first time to get my Big 3 stub. That's the only reason I went, because I should create like a bros stub, because my goodness.
For going to Alpine, that's your typical line.
Yeah.
Bros stub.
So, anyway, so it was fun to poke fun at them and say, SPAC has gotten 940 performances, tees or otherwise, and if you squint way down there, you can see Alpine there with 3 on the
list. Just rubbing it in. I didn't know what to expect, because right before these shows, they went and announced that we knew that Friday night was going to be broadcast on SiriusXM DMB Radio, Channel 3 or whatever it is,
716
170
on the app, I think.
There you go. And then we get an announcement that, like, only how many days in advance? It was like no days in advance that night 2 was going to be streamed on YouTube, video stream.
It was earlier that week. Yeah, it was less than a week.
Yeah, so crazy. All of a sudden, both nights we're getting the people that aren't at SPAC get to hear both nights. Does that mean the shows are going to be influenced? I didn't know. I usually when they do this, they come they start on time. So 8:10, they usually start on time, which I'm all about that. Get them on stage sooner because you can't push back when they got to get off very much at some of these venues. So the sooner they get on, the better. So in that sense, it's good. But I didn't know what to expect when I heard that both of the shows were going to be streamed.
So, I mean, overall, anything of note in terms of before the show? I know you guys do Balls Fest every year. How was that?
Yeah, Balls Fest is night 2. Man, they just do it bigger and better every year. You know what? You've attended Balls Fest, right?
No, I have not.
Oh, you never been to one?
When did it start?
It's gets bigger and better every year. So
yeah, I know, but I mean, so my last SPAC shows were like 10, I think.
It must have been right after that then. Must have been. I can't remember the first year they did it. Just to put it in perspective, they've since expanded Balls Fest. And here, Balls Fest, for anybody that doesn't know, is a charity tailgate, I guess, for back return. It's actually a bigger it's a charity organization, and they do a tailgate. So I shouldn't associate them with tailgates because that's not all they do. That helps local children with cancer or other illnesses. So they have been doing it at Saratoga. Saratoga is where they started it. They do it on night 2. They rent out one of the pavilions in the park. It's all you can eat, all you can drink. They got going on. They do a nice ceremony. The kids are there. Give them some surprises, some gifts, some trips and stuff like that. So it's been huge. They've expanded it now they do one in Arizona.
That's
they do
incredible.
One in Vegas now coming back. And they do it for anywhere from 5 to 6 kids each time. So it's a great cause.
So the Balls Fest thing, obviously, what's that name about? It's probably a play, I'm guessing, on testicles?
Yeah. So the creator of Balls Fest was a survivor of testicular cancer.
Awesome.
And started as just a regular fundraiser, and it's grown from that. And now it's kind of more than that. They call all the kids ballers. They're all like cancer survivors or beaters. They're ballers. So it's kind of moved away from the original probably source and turned into something much bigger. So awesome. I heard I can't even remember how many people were there. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to say somebody said 600. It seems like that might be too many, but I mean it's a massive. There's huge bars. One of those trailers with taps on the outside of it, and
yeah, Larry Boa says nearly 700 people this year. That is unreal.
Yeah, so they get bigger and better. And so Ants marching, all the people on the forums that work in the venue and that join in on the venue thread, kind of have made a tradition to join in on that. And so a ton of Ants members are there every year. It's night 2, and took a group photo. But yeah, that's a great one for night 2. Night 1, we just did a small, not small, but we did a Ants marching tailgate in the park. The lots, listen to this, Matt. The lots for SPAC didn't open until 5 o'clock. Like, how are you supposed to get in?
So
and get any kind of
pave
like
over a good section of the traditional lots also?
Yeah, all the main venue lots didn't open until 5 o'clock.
Yeah. No, from what I understand, though, they paved over a lot of the old grassy stuff you used to be able to tailgate on. When I was going in the 2000s, it was great. And then the later years, I've heard that they've really restricted a lot of the tailgating activities, which sucks because that is a primo tailgating venue.
Yeah, and it hurts. I mean, there's no opener, so they would normally open it a little bit sooner. But I don't know why they don't just open the lot sooner. But you can go into the park, and which is what we did. We went to the park, and you can get in there at any day, at any point of the day. So we went in much early to the park. First time actually doing that in a while. I think it actually worked out kind of cool. It felt more SPAC-like because you're amongst the trees, you're in the grass. Felt great. So I think both pre-shows turned out pretty good, and I think there may be a little bit of a bellwether for how the shows were going to be that later in the night.
Okay. So Did you feel a punch in the gut when they started with "Come Tomorrow"?
No, because I say every time I say they're going to start with "That Girl Is You."
You love everything. You love everything.
No, I don't love everything, but I just thought it's going to be. I just think that it's going to be something like that, and it was. Come Tomorrow hasn't opened a ton. It's maybe of the a little bit fewer of the Come Tomorrow.
Yeah, it opened the tour,
tracks.
but they might have been like two or three times to open the show, I think.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I thought too. So in that sense, it's better than Again and Again or That Girl Is You in that sense.
In the only sense. Yeah, but then you get another one of my favorite tracks. And we've seen a pattern here off of the Lily White Sessions, but official release as Busted stuff. You get the Dirty Bird. You get a little Raven.
The Dirty Bird.
One of the few tracks that I feel is improved from Lily White Sessions to Busted stuff. I think Raven actually grabs a purpose on Busted stuff. Love this song. It's top 10 for me. Top 15. It's very, very good. So I was very, very jealous to see that.
Yeah, people were super excited to see that one come out. Everyone was really excited. I would say the crowd was really into the whole beginning of the set. Even Come Tomorrow, maybe not so much, but after that, Raven, Stay or Leave, Gray Street, Grace Is Gone, That Girl's You, Warehouse. I mean, really, really good energy. So I was for SPAC, dead silent during Captain. Dead silent. Like, nobody was singing or anything. It was very quiet. It just really struck me as like all these other songs, even Raven, getting more sing along than Captain.
I'm one who would like to see Captain come back the old way, but I don't think you can pull it off. Well, there's a lot of things I could say. I don't think they could pull it off, and they've been doing it without a violin. But I think that slow Captain from the Lily White Sessions is kind of violin dependent in a way.
Okay. Maybe part of the reason why it received it. So, I mean, I like to hear it back, and I think it's a good song, but quiet. It was quiet, very quiet for a SPAC crowd. All very much a lot of hardcore fans there. I would say Captain was quiet, but then it picks up from there with Minarets. Samurai Cop's fine. Everyone knows it at this point, so it's still good. YAM.
I like YAM a lot.
Yeah, hardcores love it. Get to sing about Roy. And then Seek Up. And pretty excited to see Seek Up because I didn't know, was it just going to be something special that only Chicago had and then it was going to go away? I think it was awesome that it came out to SPAC. I will say I was not the best version in my opinion. It was a little disjointed. The beginning, the first half of the song, the intro, really, really good. The second part, like Buddy, and then going into what Dave would normally do, the wailing, was just completely separated. It was like Buddy just finished his solo, nothing was happening.
You didn't get that. You didn't get that emotional build.
Yeah, there was no build, zero build.
Yeah.
It was like I completed my piano solo, and then Dave's like, "Oh, I guess I'm the next thing in line," and so he wasn't even emotional. A lot of people said he didn't even wail. He just kind of sang because the emotion was gone. There was no build up. So that was a little rough. Hopefully they can they work on that if they play it again and get the build there, because that is one of the best parts of that song.
Oh, yes.
Is that piece.
So it's weird. I don't know about you, but I think a lot of people, even hardcore fans, their first exposure to Dave Matthews Band live was Red Rocks '95, that release.
Yeah.
And that opened with, in my opinion, right, whether it is or not, it is the quintessential Seek Up because it was my first exposure to it, and just, oh my goodness, that version, that whole show, still I go back, and it's just amazing.
Yep.
What a great recording, great performance, and like even songs that I have worn on me over the years, like Two Step, like that's a 7.5 minute bang, and it's a really cool tight two step. And then I was at the show, I think it was 2001, that a lot of people claimed was now the new best ever Seek Up, which was SPAC 2001. Does that ring a bell to you?
Why?
I don't know. People go nuts over that version.
73001?
Yes, that one.
Oh, I love that version. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
Well, we have video of it, which we don't have a ton of like show videos. Those were the days of Ethan Sinclair. We got, a VHS of the '01, and Dave they have a screenshot, a screen capture of the venue screen, and you just see like the veins popping out of Dave's neck, and you see how emotional he is during it, and it builds so perfect. And then it later came out on a warehouse disc, I believe, and so now we have the official audio synced up to that old school video, and it's really just the emotion, and is why that one is so popular. I mean, and it's all over not just SPAC, that SPAC fans that like that version. I mean, Alpine fans love that version. Gorge, West Coasters love that version.
I'm going to need to give it another listen. I thought I remembered not being there. I liked it, and it did feel special. But I think I listened to recording. I was like, it kind of feels like he's just yelling, but
it's pretty passionate. Maybe the video helps it.
Yeah, I got to listen to it again.
Definitely pretty
and
awesome.
thanks to Zach, who works with Ants. Zach Rippey said that's on Warehouse 5 Volume 2, also one of the best Warehouse discs. So that's where that officially gets released. Thank you, Zach. And then you get Time Bomb. What do you think about that?
We're like, wait, is this song more than just an intro to Two Step? Is this really a song?
Yeah. Were you excited? What was the crowd pop for that?
Crowd didn't pop, but it's an energy song. I mean, it builds and builds, and people get into it. So I think everyone was pretty happy with that. It got played. No one was like, "Oh, we got a dud with Time Bomb." It wasn't the song that everyone was talking about the next morning. But it was cool just to call it a tour debut, Time Bomb, something that's been away for a little while.
And then you move on to Idea of You and Funny the Way It Is and Ants Marching to close the set.
Yep.
Joe, before we get into the encore, because I want to talk about that encore.
Yep.
Has Ants been something where you're still kind of like bracing yourself? I've heard that's the vibe that I'm getting from people is that, man, it's just not working.
Yep. It's still not there for me. They're really just going all in, putting all their chips on the table, that when they break out of these solos and go right back into the traditional horn part, that's just this big return to the song, and that you'll just go crazy. It's just too long for that payoff, just too many solos. And Stefan and Carter and Dave are actually looking at each other and having fun with like counting off, okay, do 5 beats this time, do 8 beats this time. Like they're having a little fun and doing their own thing. And I don't think they're actually listening to the solos. They're just kind of having fun doing their own thing. And I don't think they truly realize it's just a little disjointed. They've tried some different stuff, and props for trying it. They got a little bit different ending to it now. I just think they could shorten it.
I mean, the band can still sound as good as they ever have. Two things can be true at once, right? That can be true, and it can also be the violin is so much of what makes this band unique and a part of their core sound that you can always take members away and this and that, and the band changes, but kind of coalesces around this core identity. I still feel like the violin's part of that identity, and it's very weird not having it there.
Yeah. That is the definition. That's the definition of Ants right now. It has not figured out how to do it without.
Do we have to change our intro to the podcast? Do we have to change our name?
Is that a violin on it?
Do we have to change the website name?
I know, it seems so weird to criticize it, but
timebomb.com.
It's a great song. I don't want it to go away. Yes, it could get better and they could change it. I don't want it to go away. Just keep working. I hope they keep trying different stuff on it. But then the surprise was the encore.
Yes. Well, every time we have to talk about this, will they bring a violin back at some point?
I mean, I think they will. It's not definitely. I think they will. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I do too. And it's speculation at best, right? And not to dive back into it, but real quick hit here is that a lot of people, or a few people, said that they feel like the band probably was pushing Boyd out there and saying, "Get right for this year, the year off for Boyd, or whatever it was, or stepping away. Go on, get better." With whatever is known at that point, whatever. Let's go on, improve, fix, whatever, and then come back. And I think then when that article dropped and the lawsuit and all that, they just cut him loose, and there was no plan B, probably at that point, and so just rolled with it.
I think they had enough time to implement something. They had a couple months. I think they could have done it, but yeah, I mean, maybe it's just easier. Like, hey, let's do something a little bit different. I want to bring keys in. I think we've heard, that Dave wanted keys. He felt that they could contribute to more songs. So that was his first priority, was introducing keys. And maybe just, hey, too much to do keys and a violin in the same year. Let's just do this one step at a time.
I mean,
let's
maybe.
do keys. Yep, let's do keys now, and let's reevaluate. And if we want violin, let's do violin there. And I think they're trying their darndest. I mean, like we're going to talk about here, Pig was a surprise add to the show on night one, wasn't on the set list. And for that one...
What a great encore.
Yeah, I don't think you agree with this. Maybe you do. I can't remember. I think Rashawn does a muted trumpet to simulate the violin, the boy violin part.
Yeah, the beginning.
Yeah, and I think it works.
It sounded okay on the stream from, what was it, last weekend?
Yeah, that was the first time, and then,
it sounded okay to me there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it works. It works here, and if it works here, does that help the case for bringing back a violin? I don't know.
Even if his parts can be manufactured or imitated by other instruments, it's still that instrument now is no longer freed up to do their part of it. I 100% think this band needs a violin to reach full potential.
If that's yes, I think it needs a violin.
Yeah, I think every show has objective disappointment without. I mean, it doesn't mean it ruins the show, but I mean, they're leaving something on the table by not having a violin there every night.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
For sure. But yeah, that encore. So remind me, didn't I say something about Some Devil as an encore song a couple weeks ago, 3 episodes ago or so?
Well, you said it. You liked it in the E1 spot, I think is what you're saying. You wanted that. You kind of liked that back, right? Yeah.
Just putting that out there. Dave called me up because I heard the podcast. You want to hear Some Devil?
I'll do it for you at SPAC.
I'll do a little do, and then I'm done.
Seeds.
But yeah, if you got Some Devil's a really great tune, real soulful. I like that in the E1 spot. That right there is fantastic. And then Pig, of course. Did it sound any different to you from Deer Creek?
Not that I can remember. I admittedly was probably haven't listened close enough to it at the time. The crowd wanted Pig. At least definitely the pit wanted Pig. There was a mini pig that was thrown on stage. There was a giant pig hat somebody had. I think that at one point there was probably a pig chant. And the way the band came out on stage, so Dave's playing solo Some Devil by himself, and then the whole band joins him out there. And it just seemed like they knew they were playing Pig from the start, because some of the pigs got thrown up right after Some Devil and stuff like that. They just went straight into Pig. It wasn't like one of these things where they all circled up and kind of talked and said, let's change it, let's add something. It just seemed like, let's do it. And like, I think they previously maybe talked about it during the encore break or something. I don't think it was a very last second ad. It looked like it was a little bit planned, but it sounded good.
That brings
the crowd wanted it. So
that brings me back to my touring days when I would go see 6-7 shows a year, and that excitement of watching them stand up there and react to the crowd. And you could see they're having a conversation, and maybe something's getting changed up or added in, or surprised. That kind of thrill of seeing what could be possibly coming next. And I remember that feeling well.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Don't Drink. I mean, that's a song. That's almost on a whitelist for me. Like, there's nothing they could do to ruin that song in terms of.
Don't say that.
I know. In terms of set list selection.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, It's almost gets a pass. Like, they probably could play that every night, and I'm just like, yep, upvote. I just, for whatever reason, it's just a great song. I talked about this before, but in terms of social commentary, how do you make a single about the plight of Native Americans and basically, your bones walked over, and it's just the message that he's saying. It's so beautifully written, by the way, for lyrics. Sorry, it's not Drunken Soldier with the contrived trite stuff where it's trying to be message, but it comes off as phony. But this the bridge. So as I rest my feet by this fire, man, does that grab me every single time. So yeah, I love it live, and it's a song that, as good as it is on the album, it's way better live, in my opinion.
It has a little bit more of a point than a lot of some of Dave's writing, and I'm not an expert on his writing, but I know Dave really likes to leave his songs open to interpretation, doesn't want to give the listener too narrow of an idea what it is, because then they less chance that they'll be able to relate. And it leaves kind of songs like kind of just sometimes too open. You're like, okay, it's about love. We know it's about love, or we know it's about family, or we know it's about death. It's like too big of a topic where, some of these, they're a little bit more narrow, and it actually helps the lyrics.
Yeah, that's just absolutely one of my favorites. And just the fact that he kind of snuck it in there in a single, in the lead single for that album is really interesting. So that was night one, and that leads us to night two.
Well, the other thing about night one, just to say real quick, is 3 tour debuts and 6 songs with only 3 tour plays?
Yes, other than the debuts.
Other than debuts. So that's 9 songs that were 3 or less plays this entire tour.
That's right.
And then and then you got the 5, what is it? How many Come Tomorrow songs? Were like 5 Come Tomorrow songs. So right there you're at 14 of the whatever 20 songs. I mean, that's you're working with a good set list if that's what you're on from a variety perspective.
Oh, absolutely. So night 2,
and it was a stream show, so throw out any ideas that a stream show might negatively affect your show, because night 1, let me just say, after night 1 happened, I said,
you're good.
I'm good, and I'm actually gonna expect a pretty bad show for night 2. I just named all the songs that they were gonna pretty much feel like they had to play. And I was like, night 2 is not going to be that good compared to this night.
There is no better position to be in than coming off with a show that satisfies you for 2 nights and then having no expectations for the next. Like, you know what?
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's fantastic. It's the best place to be. It's kind of like how I went into Come Tomorrow. In a way, at least the expectations half of that. Unfortunately, they still fell short. But that's but yeah, I know that feeling. It's like, man, I got more than I could have hoped out of that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I was feeling like I was playing with house money a little bit. I still knew this is Saratoga, this is night 2. You got to throw a little bone to all the fans that came out here. So I knew there'd be something more, but I was like keeping my expectations low. Quick
jump back to night 1 real quick. There has been confirmation in the YouTube chat here, thanks to the captain Larry Boa and also our own Jen Henson, that there was a guy wearing a pig hat, and Dave pointed to him with a thumbs up, and that was the Heartbreak Kid, Tony B. This guy is not only guessing those set lists and topping those charts, he's doing work for the community. He's getting pig played.
All right, what mission are we going to put him on next? Bring a violin back. Heartbreak.
The Heartbreak Kid, Tony Scree. Sorry. So night 2 starts out, and you get Again and Again, which I think if I'm going to hear a Come Tomorrow song to open a show, it's probably the one I want to hear.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Pretty strong tune. And then, so this is the live stream. This is the YouTube live stream, this show. So I'm watching it, and I'm actually was working on DMB Hub at the same time, and I have it over here in the window. And they start playing JTR, and it's one of those things that I bet people who are hearing me are going to understand what I mean, where it takes a few seconds for your mind to catch up to really parse what you're hearing. Your mind's just trying to say, like, this name, this song. It's trying to put the tail on the donkey of what song you're hearing. And finally, after about 5 seconds or so, it realizes this is JTR, and I'm like,
where did this come from?
Yeah,
your face.
I mean, Big Eyed Fish, Lover Lay Down. Nothing on JTR showing up out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, complete shock. I mean, I've been playing this at tailgates because we've had some rain tailgates as of late, so it's a great rain song. And I wish for like a rainy show, like a Darien, like a Bristow, play JTR.
That 2000 good tour. Time. That 2000 tour was just incredible.
Yeah. When they would play to like to that, and the crowd, like, you felt like so perfect. Like, we got rain and it kind of ruined our party a little bit, but the band is not going to let that happen, and they are going to play something special to make up for the rain. I can't say that's that's happened recently to rainy shows. I don't feel like the band does something more special at a show that's raining than another show.
Yeah, I mean that might have been, in my opinion, the surprise of the tour. JTR coming out up to this point in a song, the surprise of the tour. It is such a tease in a way, because you're like, more like, yes, rotate please, keep it coming. Not 8 shows in a row. Like, there's been some tours where they would break out stuff like a 34 and they played it for like 10 songs. Like, this is a special song. You don't need to put it on blast. Just sprinkle it. And that's, I hope that's what happens to JTR. And I hope it's not JTR or Lover Lay Down or JTR or The Stone. I want a show with all of them. You could still put your 4 or 5 Come Tomorrow songs in there. You can do it. But then, of course, you can have your cake and eat it too. JTR went right into Big Eyed Fish. They went right into Lover Lay Down. Oh my gosh, that was freaking, yeah. No, right now I'm very pleased, and you got to be thinking, I might as well go home now, because it's probably only going to be downhill from here.
Could you keep up with that? I mean, let's be honest. That's quite the run right there.
It is.
I knew when we didn't get a night one, a Satellite, a You and Me, a Crash Into Me, we were gonna get that, and so boom, there came the Satellite. Later on came the Crash Into Me. Got us Steady As We Go. Just, a little bit of variety, so nice. But still, we started getting into the songs that I knew were going to have to come. You couldn't make it 2 nights without playing some of those songs. But they still...
Overall for me...
Stuff.
Overall
Bartender?
for me...
I got more text messages. Yeah.
Yeah, you were just dropping out, so I
got more text messages.
So yeah,
sorry. I got more text messages about Bartender being played than anything this tour so far. Even JTR, which it seems, I think JTR is probably more deserving of getting a lot of text messages.
Way more rare than Bartender.
But yeah, Bartender people were like, wow, Bartender, that's awesome, that returned.
Would you want to take a swing at the historical rarity of Bartender? Overall,
it's not that rare. I mean, I would the historical of the last couple tours.
No, overall.
Yeah, overall. So that focuses on when it was first introduced on.
That's correct, right. And that does include the Dave and Tim tour from '99.
Okay, I would say 30.
28.66. Very good. Oh, yeah. And what would you say the rarity for JTR is?
JTR. My first guess was 12, but I'm gonna bump it down to 9.
8.28. Oh, Joe, what are the lotto numbers tonight? You got those? You got to read on those? Very nice.
Those I don't have.
But so I was watching the Bartender, and the beginning, the baritone, where you get the da-da-da, da-da-da, it was really weird. It sounded like they were just going, da, da, like, was that right, or was that the stream just making it sound like...
No, that's what they were doing.
He wasn't doing the 2-note thing?
You didn't like it. They still did the da-da later.
Oh, yeah, when they break into it.
Yeah, but not as it was just a horn, like almost like a barge horn.
It was like the Rangers just scored. And I say that over the Blackhawks, Crumbo. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was cool because again, I like same thing with Sledgehammer. It's like an intro that's like a build.
I like that.
Yeah, and the same thing, the foghorn, you're like, oh, I know what they're about to do. I know what they're about to do. This is going to be sweet. And then, yeah. So
They had me questioning, though, because of the weird intro this time around.
What about the weird intro?
Oh, just that it sounded so different. I mean, I'm like, is it Bartender? Oh, and I wasn't sure, and it was so cool because, oh, man, I tell myself, I'll be listening to the band in the car, and I'll hit something like a live show or something, and I'll get chills. And I'm like, as much as I gripe, when that stops, I'll give up, whatever. But it's not. It's still going. This chill thing. And when they busted into Bartender on the live stream, I'm like, I just got this smile. Like, oh, that feels good. It was a nice feeling to hear that.
Oh, you almost gave me. Oh, I got little baby ones. You even gave me a little ones.
Yeah, well.
That's been happening a lot to me this tour. What you just described there. And I know you necessarily wouldn't agree with this, but I've had that moment at a bunch of songs this tour. And I don't know if it's just because of the year off.
Yeah.
I just miss that full band sound, and you get it live, and it's just a little bit overtakes you, and you're like, whoa, that brings back. So I've had tons of goosebump moments. These shows, like at least 2 a show. I usually point it out to somebody.
It's an awful lot of tied to nostalgia for me too.
Yeah.
Is that it's a familiar feeling. It's an excited feeling. Tour season always has a feeling to everybody. They have, it just feels a certain way. And when you get reminded of those special summers that you've had, it is pretty magical. So I think I know what you're talking about too.
Yep.
And then so my only problem with this show, well, after that beginning, you've got bartender sprinkled in there. Around that, other than that, I mean, I liked Here and Out. I don't know about you.
I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. This just might be an interesting fact that somebody hasn't been paying attention. But on Here on Out, originally was the first couple times it was Dave along with Buddy and Tim. At SPAC, it was just Dave. But the interesting fact that people may know about is Carter gets off his drum set during this song, sits behind his drum set on his platform, and meditates.
I saw that picture.
What's that?
I saw a picture of him doing that.
Yeah. He gets into the position and meditates. Doesn't leave the stage. He just sits on his stand and meditates throughout that entire song. And then when Dave's done, he gets up and returns to his kit. Really crazy. Really, I mean,
pretty neat.
Yeah, different. I don't know what else to make from it. That's just what he's doing during Here on Out. He's chosen that song of all songs. I'm not sure if there's something more to it to sit and meditate during.
Well, so you've got the run of Do You Remember Steady As We Go, Jimmy and She, which got all downvotes for me. That was like for my opinion, that was the dip. And if you look at the show flow, that's mostly the dip part of the show as well. Again, Sister gets all kinds of hate. I like it. It's fine with me. And that was E1, but E.5 or so was a 40 quote unquote tease. Or would you say it was a 40 discount, Joe? Would you call it a discount or a tease?
What is a discount?
I heard all the story about the flower shirt, by the way, and I'm going to tell the story right here live.
Oh my gosh. How did you hear about this?
40, there was some kind of thing going on with 40% or $40 shirt that ties in really well. And I want you all to know that I got texts and pictures today from various parties not named Joe M. that apparently before one of the concerts, one of the nights in Saratoga, our own very own B-Rad was wearing a floral shirt, a Hawaiian shirt, something like that. Joe, he liked it, so he wanted to match. So listen to this. Let me just tell you this story and tell me if I'm talking about Joe M or Oprah. Tell me if you can tell me the difference. He calls a Banana Republic. Right? This is 45 minutes before the tailgate. Calls a local Banana Republic and says, "Do you have Hawaiian shirts?" And they say yes or whatever. They have 3 or
floral
something like that.
Shirts.
Floral shirts. Thank you. And he says, "I want you to pull them for me. I'll be right there." So everything but close the store down and let my entourage in kind of thing, right? Pull the shirts for me and I'll be right there. He shows up. He's sending Brad's fiance pictures of himself from the dressing room. What do you think of this? What do you think of this one? How about this one? Yeah. Listen, so when they were telling me this, I didn't believe it. It got corroborated by another party. I didn't believe it. So then...
I got some rats I got to clear out here.
And so apparently that was how they drove down there, gets the shirt, and then this was the end result.
Oh, you have a photo too?
So bastard. If you're not live streaming and watching us on YouTube, you absolutely should be. So that's the end result. Thank
goodness it's blurry. It's helping.
Oh, it's perfect. So but I heard it was on sale, and that really got you jazzed.
Oh, you know me. I'll go anything for a sale. I mean, I had a floral shirt for my tailgate outfit, and then I just had a normal,
Wait, you went back and ironed it, right?
Oh yeah, yes, but you have to. It's a fresh shirt.
It should already be ironed.
maybe has some fold marks or something like that. But I had a floral shirt for the tailgate, and then everyone was still going to wear their florals for the show, and I just had a button down for the show, and then Matt H, who was with us, freaking said, I think I've seen you wear that shirt before. And I was like, are you kidding me? So literally like 5 minutes before we leave to the tailgate, we just hurried up and we pulled this off real quick. So, yeah, I felt I needed to join everyone else's florals. It wasn't just me. Tyler had florals. Some of the ladies, Melissa had florals, whole bunch of people. So I wanted to match it.
So I heard that when you were checking out to buy this shirt that there was an older gentleman in front of you. Oh my God,
you really have all the freaking details about this?
And apparently he was in front of you with the same shirt. This is probably 60-something gentleman. And the cashier says, hey, what's going on? Both of you got the same shirt. And so the older guy speaks up before Joe. Says, I'm going to Dave Matthews. I wonder if he called ahead and had him lay him out for him like Oprah. Jopra. There it is.
Oh man,
Jopra Winfrey.
I got it. Someone's got some stuff coming toward them for sharing that story. Oh.
So if you see Joe, you know what he probably did too? He probably took that price tag and tucked it up in the arm and probably returned it on the way home.
I'll go get the shirt. It's up in my bedroom. I'm gonna wear that next podcast. I should actually.
Please do, and make sure you rip the tag off for real. But okay, so
are you done making fun of me now?
I'm sorry. I almost forgot about that.
Yes, you did.
40, the tease, which was its 9th appearance as SPAC. More than any other venue. I think Gorge is number 2 with 6, something like that. But short, right? Really short. Someone called it 39.5.
Yeah, it was very short. And the crowd went dead silent for it. They were so like respecting the 40, waiting. There no one jumped the cheers. Like Dave starts to get quiet and they're like, oh, people start cheering. No, they just kept waiting, seeing if he's just gonna tease a little pause and then start going more. And then Dave just walked away from the mic, and everyone was like, oh. I think I saw there was an audible gasp. I don't know if I picked that up on the stream, but audible gasp, and then obviously a cheer.
Better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. He's done more. He's done way more for SPAC. So
we've gotten like a 3-minute guy at SPAC, right?
What's that?
I think we've gotten like a 3-minute 40 at SPAC in past years.
Yeah, and
pretty cool.
I still believe it's a song he doesn't even really know. He doesn't even think it's a song.
Oh no, he's using that. He's using the iPad for lyrics, big time.
Oh yeah. He's and he just learns it the night before Saratoga every time and kind of plays it. And depending on how comfortable he's feeling, he keeps going, or he's like, I'm not feeling comfortable at this. I'm bailing.
I remember. Speaking of that, I remember the sister that we got back in Charlottesville. I don't know. It was 2009 or something. One of the first years he started doing Sister, and he talked about how nervous he was about playing it in front of his family and friends, basically in his hometown. And that was a special Sister for me because he did have a spot that he kind of goofed on, but because he was just so nervous. But that was a cool thing to see.
That's cool.
And maybe that imparted, my love for Sister. Maybe that helped that out a little bit, experiencing that version of it.
Yep.
And then it's SPAC, so there have to be the chants because I heard them on the web stream.
They went, and the set list, the official set list had 2-step or tripping. Was it tripping? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was one of the two, and sure enough, after Sister ends, the chants just start going 2-step, 2-step, 2-step. So, I mean, what if they played tripping and then the fans later saw that 2-step was on there and they didn't play it? Man, SPAC would feel your face.
That's right. When you put it on the set list, that is not private. That will get out.
Yeah, and then you like intentionally didn't choose it after they chanted like that. That would probably upset some people. So they played it.
If they were smart,
awesome.
They'd have dummy set lists with 20 crap songs on it, and then they'd let that one leak out after the show. And you're like, look what they did instead. They mixed it up completely.
It's funny you say that. Yeah, that means the band would really have to be talking about what songs because they pull the set list officially off the stage. So that means the entire time they were looking at the dummy one.
It's just like a baseball sign. It's like I write two-step, but I mean Dream Girl.
Oh, if they really every song had a different song code word.
Ooh, and then they mix it up all the time.
Well, I don't know if you mix it up. I think if we can start decoding it,
that's what I'm saying. They'd have to mix it up, so it'd be next level trolling for them to pull.
Oh, I want to decode it. I don't want them to mix it up too much that I can't decode it.
Right.
We get a little decoder ring going on.
The Joder
but
ring.
2-step was fun. It was good. There was awesome. I mean, Carter was feeling it. Carter wanted to take this over. He wanted to take the show over a couple different times, but he definitely used it here. So much so that Dave actually took one of the chairs of the security guards, that sit on stage and watch, to make sure no one jumps on the stage. Took the chair, sat down in it, and just watched Carter for a while. And Carter had no interest on ending his solo. I doubt it's the longest 2-step Carter solo. I'm sure there's the longer ones, but it was a good long one.
Well, and maybe surreptitiously answering any kind of concerns about where's Carter, what's going on with him, and he's apparently brought it.
I have never been part of that.
No,
Carter's brought it all tour, and and he had it for SPAC too.
So glad to hear that. And then so I'm glad SPAC was a good 2-night stand for you.
It did get a repeat, so it wasn't part of the no repeat group. The only no repeat 2-night stand still remains only at New Hampshire and Deer Creek. So SPAC is not elite enough to join that group.
What was the repeat? Samurai?
Yep.
Okay. Would you still SPAC and Deer Creek weekends?
What are you putting me on the spot?
Rank that just real quick.
Really?
I'm not asking you to put one down. If you could only go to one 2-night stand, which one would you have went to this year? And I realize that ties in with the people too, right? So you potentially are offending a lot of fans out there if you say
I'm offending myself. Gosh.
5 seconds.
I say Saratoga.
Okay.
Well,
No, I'm just seeing a lot of emails coming in from Deer Creek goers right now.
Oh, geez. The hate mail's all in.
Just kidding.
It's Matt at antsmarching.org. All hate mail goes there, please.
Do we even need to summarize Quebec City?
Here's what I would say about Quebec City. It was another festival, and it's got a little setlist game drama there.
So the high score is 30. That's still pretty high when you're 2 or 3 songs short of your average.
So the band didn't go on until 9:30 because of a festival time. And how many? I want to look. I don't have it right now. I'll have it later. But I'm very curious how many setlist players were conscious of that fact. And actually, we could probably just see what the average number of songs picked was, and if that was actually lower than the other averages to the shows. I can put that up. But they didn't get it wasn't going to be a full show, so only 17 songs were played when most times people are picking 20, 21, maybe even 22 sometimes. So
the number of songs played were 17. The average, I don't know if that shows up right here, Joe, but the average score was 10.
Average picks over was 2.1, whereas sometimes people are. Average score is 10, but average picks over was 2.1, which the over picks has not happened other than really one other show.
SPAC Night 2 was a minus 3.3 average songs over, so people are underpicking by 2 or 3 songs, typically. Yeah, SPAC Night 1 was 1.33 songs over minus.
Yeah. So the only other shows other than Bristow was overpicked by 4.7 songs, which obviously that makes sense. It was a shorter show. The only other one where people had that was Northerly Iron Night 2. They were one overpick, but they were 2 songs overpick. So not dramatic. As much as 17 songs, that means most people did 19 songs. That's still pretty light. So I think people were conscious of the fact that it was going to be a shorter show.
But only some, in my opinion, there are probably a few of them that thought it was and brought that average down. But
Because the average points, 10 average points, that is low. If this was not that difficult of a show to guess.
No, but the high score was still 30, which indicates that, there was some penalty in, overall, probably a couple, 3 songs.
Yeah. But I could have declared this would be a guaranteed radio show, being in Quebec of all places. I mean, I should look up when the last time I were in Quebec was. But gonna be a radio show at a festival, so sure enough, you're gonna get all the staples. Don't Drink Warehouse, What Would You Say, Satellite Crash Into Me, Gray Street Ants, Tripping Billy So Much. I mean, yes, those are all pretty much staples. But I did not expect to see Lion in the Hands of God get played at this show. That was a nice treat, and Sledgehammer's nice. Guess that maybe this shouldn't be a surprise, but that Lion in the Hands was there. You want to know what was my most interesting takeaway from the show? This is really offbeat. This is like kind of tour talk, not setlist talk. The crew had to use, I think, the festival's lighting rig. They didn't get to use their own lighting rig. And so what the surprising part to me is it was spot on. So Fenton clearly did his work. He must have got the festival light rig specs and all the stuff and put it into his programs, and he took the time to program songs for that festival's own special lighting rig, not the tour lighting rig. So he took the time to program lighting songs just for this one show of the entire tour. That's impressive to me.
Watching the videos and seeing the pictures over the course of the tour, it slams home, if it hadn't been already, these guys are the best in the business.
The crew?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Every year they completely change it up. They are on top of their game every single year. It's impressive to watch.
I could not believe that he took the time to program the show. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert to know what it takes to do that, but it seems like a lot of work. And the fact that he did it, and it was a unique show to see from a lighting perspective. They had a giant screen, like one of those huge, whole back part of the stage was a screen. So they were doing visuals across it the entire show, visuals that we have not seen during these other tour dates. So it was a very unique show from a lighting and visual perspective.
Where were you seeing this?
I just saw it from fan posted videos.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you happened to be there. I mean, one would forgive me if I assumed that you were.
No, I was fan posted videos.
Gotcha.
Tried to find a Periscope. There wasn't too many Periscopers going on in Canada.
Periscope banned in Canada.
But I was very surprised. Awesome job. Shout out to Fenton. That's probably my biggest takeaway. It's a radio show, but my biggest takeaway is they brought it for this festival. They didn't check out.
So I said it here on the agenda that we talk about show flow insights, but I don't want to beat it too much. Is that the SPAC shows are actually quite lowly rated on the show flow, and just to kind of go back to, it's not a complete judgment of the overall show experience and rating. It still just shows that there are a lot of songs that are getting thumbs down. And again, we've talked about how JTR, Big Eyed Fish Lover Daily Down, I'd love to give that plus 30, but you can only give it plus 3. So it's one of those things that I just found it interesting that you're still getting downvotes on the songs that people don't want to hear. But so overall, historically, you're getting a lot of shows with a lot of negative songs in there. But overall,
people aren't just upvoting a song because it was played at Saratoga. They're still they're still downvoting it regardless of where it's played.
Right. It's just two of the better shows of the year. I would think anybody could objectively make that distinction, and their show flow ratings are still quite low. It's just funny. It's just another data point.
And we've talked. Me and you have talked about that. I think maybe off pod. I don't know if we've talked it on pod, but the show flow is a data, like I said, a data point, and it definitely doesn't factor in, like you just said, you can't vote a 3. So it takes out the extremes. And so where we might say, oh my gosh, they played JTR, and that made the show for me, and I was playing with house money at that point, and I didn't really care what else happened. The show flow cannot factor that in. It takes out those extremes and just looks at the whole as a thumbs up, thumbs down, or neutral.
Every song's impact on the show is equal.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
That's a good way to put it. Every show can't overemphasize that the other.
So we've been going for like an hour and a half or an hour and 5 minutes, Joe. I don't know if we want to just keep on rolling. We want to talk about some DMB Hub stuff and take any more questions or stuff like that.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm feeling good. All right, cool. Thanks for everybody for sticking with us too, by the way, on YouTube Live, those who've been watching. If you're listening, if you're watching afterwards, even if you're doing it now, we would really appreciate a subscription to our YouTube Live channel. It's free, but just add us. You click the subscribe button wherever it is. I don't know where it is, but somewhere. Just go ahead and add us. We're going to be putting more content up here, hopefully. And the more subscribers we have, the better chance we get to do. I know that unlocks features or something. There's a whole thing with YouTube. You need to have certain number of views and subscribers to be considered a streamer or something. I don't know what it is, but anyway, follow us on YouTube. We would really appreciate a follow there.
Yeah, if you haven't done subscribe on YouTube, big red button, subscribe. All it means is that, hey, when we post a video, you'll get it in your feed, so you don't have to go searching for it. So you're just notified when we post new videos. And then we are able to show to YouTube, hey, look, people care.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm really glad that the timing worked out for this because I have worked really hard on the latest version of DMB Hub, version 195, and it just posted to the App Store today. Apple's been really good about like a day or less turnaround time reviewing a new build and then approving it or rejecting it. And thankfully, I've not had any rejections in a long time. But new version of Hub just went up, just an updated version. But I think I finally have licked the bug about the live set list not updating on the app itself. I've also added in your personal shows, if you go to your shows that you've seen and the show is streamable within the app, it shows a little music note now. It used to only show it on when you're browsing Tour Central. In current shows now, it'll do it on your personal shows. So that shows up there, and if you can stream a show you've been to. Let's see. I added a rarity tab to your personal songs. So if you go, you used to be able to see sorted by number of times seen, alphabetically, view your teases, and now you can view it's sorted by rarity. So the most rare or the rarest songs at the top, all the way down to the common songs. And one thing I like that it does too is on the side of each song, it shows the overall rarity and it shows your rarity. So basically, it uses the same kind of algorithms to calculate, but based on your personal tour history. So you can see if you've seen the song more frequently than if a fan had went to every show from the beginning. Or you can see that, oh, that song has been played 5% of the time, but I've only seen it 2% of my time. So you get to see if you're more frequent or less frequent. I think my rarity on Spoon is higher than most, thankfully. I've seen Spoon like 3 or 4 times. And I think it's only been played like, 15 or 20 times ever?
That's pretty awesome.
It is pretty cool. So I did that.
Jealous of that.
If you have an Apple Watch, already there's a DMB Hub companion app for it, where basically you can go in there and you can see the latest set list, and you can tap on the songs and get the details on that song, kind of like the Hub app. That's all. And I have no interest in making a full-blown app for the watch because it's just nobody wants to sit here and manipulate their wrist all day. So just use the phone. But what I've done, what Apple Watch has is called complications. I don't know if you can see it here on YouTube, but on the front of the screen, you've got little sections so you can put modular info, and you can have different size ones. Well, basically the modular face, which I use, and it has a bunch of different information on it. Right in the middle, I've made one for that size, it's called a modular large block. And it essentially is, if you tap it, it goes right to the app, or during a live show, it will update automatically with the current song being played and the number too. So it's going to say like 21.2-step. So you'll see what portion of the set they're in. It'll say now playing. And so even if you have push notifications turned off on your phone, or your phone's on do not disturb or whatever, you could just raise your wrist, take a quick glance, and it will show you right there what currently is being played. So that took most of Saturday, actually, I worked on, and a lot of yesterday too.
Nice.
Got that knocked out, so I'm excited about that.
I saw Mr. Boa using the Hub app on his iWatch during the show, so shout out for that.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm happy to hear that the cell networks have gotten stronger, where being at a concert doesn't mean your phone is useless like it was so many years ago. So that's better. And then the final thing we added in this version, you'll recall maybe last version we added 3 badges. We added the back-to-back, which is if you've seen a 2-night stand at a venue, the late checkout if you've seen a 3-night stand at a venue, and then gone streaking, which is seeing 5 shows in a row within the tour. Somebody said they were at the Golden Gate Park show in like 2011 in San Francisco a few years back, and they were at like 2 shows on one side of it and 2 shows on the other side of it, which would be 4. But that Golden Gate Park show is not considered a tour show. It was not part of the same tour. It was like the Golden Gate benefit or something.
Yeah.
Therefore, they did not earn the Gone Streaking badge, even though that was 5 shows in a row.
Oh, that's a little harsh.
It's harsh. It's harsh. But I mean, look at it this way. If you go to the last 2 shows of one tour and the first 3 tour shows of another tour, that's not Gone Streaking.
Right.
Especially when you
that's not Gone Streaking, and just from our perspective, it's hard because sometimes Dave will play a radio show or do something else in the middle of the tour, or they go play
exactly.
Jimmy Kimmel or something like that. And great, you went to 5 shows in a row, but because Dave went and did Jimmy Kimmel, that breaks up your streak. That would be pretty annoying.
Yeah.
So we have to factor those things in. So yeah, maybe there's a one-off where something like Golden Gate comes up, and maybe it is kind of a streak. But we got to kind of look at it from a tour perspective, and not to rule out people's things just because Dave jumped on a radio show and played one song.
Yeah, got to draw the line somewhere, unfortunately. And I think it's going to benefit more people because of that than it would the other way around. And yes, Larry Boa, I'm wondering too who Jimmy Kimmel is. And is that some kind of evening show? Is he a new host? I don't know either. But yeah.
What did I say? Jimmy Kimmel.
So in addition to those 3 badges from the last version, we have 7 new badges to add this time around. And we've got more in the hopper. The creative juices are turning now, and we're having a lot of fun with this. So we've got 7 badges new. I will take the boring ones out right off the bat. 4 of them are number of shows. So there's the Big 5-0. So if you've been to 50 shows, you earn that. And you can earn multiple badges. You don't lose one because you move on. There's the Century Club. If you've been to 100 shows. There is $150 if you've been to 150 shows, and then Emeritus if you've been to 200. And there are people who have been, we have quite a few ants that have been to that many and more. So there might be more coming up top. But, Joe, which one of those badges would you have? Or you would have at least multiple. What's the highest one of those badges that you would have? Would you be an Emeritus?
My 200. Just celebrated my 200th 5 shows ago.
Congratulations.
Something like that.
I thought about calling the badge Get a Life, but I decided at the last minute to change it. No, I'm just kidding.
I would agree with that, maybe.
No, that's cool. That's very cool. Hey, I'm the one who made a badge for it, so who's the dork? So the other 3 stubs are I'm gonna let you guess, Joe, even though you already know. One of them is Girl Power.
Could that be maybe you heard a show at the Lovely Ladies?
That would exactly be what that is.
Oh, yes.
Yep. There is Keymaster. Little Ghostbusters reference there.
Keymaster. Could that be you heard a show with the Butch Taylor?
That would be it.
Oh, yes.
2 for 2, Joe. Okay. Is there another one? The last one. It's called Blank and Postage. This is going to be a tougher one to get because you can't get it anymore.
Well, you just gave me a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you sent a CD in the mail with extra postage to get it returned back to you with a show on it?
Or a tape, Joe.
Or a
tape.
You
millennial. Yes. So for those not familiar, you can't do it anymore, but
you can, but it's just you'd probably have a tough time finding.
I'm sorry. Yeah. As far as through Ants.
Oh, yes.
In one of the original iterations of Ants, the version of the site, we had a BNP feature, which basically you could go in and say, I have these shows and this tape or CD, and I'm willing to make 10 copies of this. And Joe, you would sign on and say, hey, click, 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 and you would claim those offers basically. And that person's counter, okay, now I have 9 available, now I have 8 available, and then people would do the BNPs offline. Well, you cannot go into those pages are gone. They've been deprecated off the site. So what the database is in Ants for how many people offered BNPs and how many slots are remaining, that's frozen in time. So what I did is I went in and I went and looked at people who have offered BNPs, and if any of those offers were actually claimed.
Yeah.
That, as far as I'm concerned, they performed the BNP, and so they get a blanket postage stub for it, which I think is cool.
That is crazy. To think about all the features we did on the site and how much time just that one feature was, and it's not even used anymore. And we've moved on from that feature.
Yep.
And there was we had a feature that was Twitter before it was Twitter.
Yep.
With send in text messages to a special. Live. Yeah, Ants Live. Send in text messages to a special Ants account, and we would pool all those text messages that people were sending at shows together and display them as
pictures and audio clips.
Yeah, that we added that. Obviously, the Ants downloader. You've been sending some pictures about the Ants downloader on Twitter recently.
I think I want to do a nostalgia podcast episode one of these times. We go back and we go to the Wayback Machine and we pull up the site.
Think about all the time we spent on all these things, and they're not even used. We don't even use them anymore.
Yep, I had an iPhone compatible version of the site, where you would basically a mobile version for your phone.
Yep.
We had mobile set lists, where after the show was over, it would send a text message out with shortcuts for everybody's name because you only had so many characters.
That's right. We fed a whole set list into 110 characters or whatever a text message is, original text message.
Yep. You would basically put your phone number in and what carrier you used, and it would use
Oh
that.
my gosh, I remember that the site would stream through all these people's phone numbers and just chug through it. We would have thousands of phone numbers that people would get the set list as a text message.
Yep.
And then we'd get people that would send us emails that'd be like, "Can you please stop the text messages? I'm getting charged $0.25 for each one. Can you stop that?"
But we'd also get people asking, "I am on so-and-so weirdo regional carrier. Can you please add these guys?" And we would.
We had so many carriers. The carriers I never heard of. That thing was going out everywhere. Anyway, like you said, we could probably go to a whole podcast into that.
Yeah, that's just fun. And I still have old copies of the site, and it's just fun to kind of scroll through every once in a while and see what we done. But you're right. I mean, so much time, we could fill a book with stuff that's no longer on the site, let alone what we're maintaining now.
I have a question for you, Matt.
Oh, okay.
If you were going to have a badge called Mile High Club, what would that be?
Did I forget that one? Well, I think it's usually when you're on a plane. Wait.
Whoa,
Let me check the other one here.
Whoa.
Could it be Mile High? Could that be related to like Colorado? Like perhaps if you've seen a show at Red Rocks?
You got it.
Wow.
Good job.
I forgot all about that one. I didn't put that in the release notes, did I? Cool. So I did. That's there. You're right. It's there. Yep. So yes, we also have a badge if you've seen the show at Red Rocks, which is not common. Where they played maybe 10 shows there ever.
It's funny. I recently looked up because I was under the impression that Fiddler's was not as big as, not much bigger than Red Rocks, and I may have even talked about this on the pod. I don't know. I'm talking about it recently. I thought it was Fiddler's, which is in Colorado where the band is playing these days. It was only a couple thousand more than Red Rocks. I'm like, just go play Red Rocks.
Yeah.
Who cares about an extra couple thousand tickets? But indeed, I was on misinformation or in my head.
How big's Fiddler's?
Fiddler's, I looked it up, but I want to say 18
like twice as large.
Twice as large, yeah. I think in Red Rocks it's like 7. So 7 and 14.
I thought it was like 9. But yeah, it's
I
tough
still
to
wish I
justify.
played Red Rocks. That's beside the point. I just thought I had a little bit of a stool to stand on to say, come on, just do it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I mean that back in 2005 when they played like 4 shows there or whatever, they did 3-night stand and they added a 4th for a hurricane benefit.
Right.
But they played 3 nights there not because it's like a SPAC, or they played it because they need to sell 27,000 tickets, not 9. You know, it's
right. But let me ask you this: how many consecutive nights do you think they could sell at Red Rocks? At some point, it would have to stop. 3, we know 4 will sell out. They've done 4, and I don't think there's any indication that they would not do 4. If anything, if they ever play Red Rocks, it is going to be the most in-demand DMV ticket I have ever seen, in my experience, in my guess.
I've been to Red Rocks, but just to visit, not
Same.
during a concert.
Same.
What does the lodging around there look like? Is it like the Gorge? Is it more accessible? Is there infrastructure around it to facilitate, or is it all camping? Is it an hour commute from the latest hotel? Like,
I don't. It wasn't an hour. Hopefully, somebody will talk to us, tell us on the chat here. But
because the wider that radius becomes, the more difficult it is.
Right. A ton of people go there that I know are not campers, and I don't think it doesn't sound like it's a major logistical problem. I feel like you can get to the town in, I'll say 30 minutes, 45 minutes if I remember. It's been years since I've been there. But how many shows do you think that they could do? I know that it impacts the decision. Let's just say it's a 30-minute drive.
Nowadays?
How many consecutive sellouts do you think they could pull off?
I think once you hit 4 or 5,
and put this in perspective, right?
I think once you hit 4 or 5, you're pushing it.
4 or 5?
So they did 4 back in 2005. That was a very different time for this band.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of, like, look at Fish and Madison Square Garden, Baker's Dozen.
Yeah, because Fish can play different set lists every night. Oh, that's just a fact. How many songs do they play in a row without not repeating? They went like 30. They went like a whole tour.
I just stumbled into this. I should have known better that this is where this conversation
and I don't
was
follow Fish, but I went to college in upstate New York, and a lot of my friends and classmates were big Fish heads. But I think I just saw a tweet or something that said they played like the entire tour without repeating a song.
Is that serious?
Something like that. And I don't know, maybe someone who's listening to Fish can correct me or reinforce me on that. But it was something that made my eyes pop in my head. I go, wow. I mean, it'd be silly to expect something like that out of Dave Matthews was never that band, right? They were never that band.
Yeah.
But when you see what kind of variety could exist out there. To your point is, they used to be able to, you got to be able to have variety if you're going to play 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shows in a row.
So you're saying, you're basing it purely, you're thinking variety will dictate how many people will go or how long they will go for.
It's already made an impact. This tour, you want to take a micro example of it. People are already, you see that attendance is down overall. And then when these rare songs kick up, you've seen spikes in less tickets available on Ticketmaster for upcoming shows when rare stuff is introduced. I think variety's got a big, big impact on it.
It's funny you say that because we just saw some variety over this past couple weekends, Deer Creek and SPAC. And can we now confirm that as a result, you have committed yourself to Gorge?
Oh.
Can you say that verbally now on the podcast? You are committed to going to the Gorge?
I will say this. I have put money down and paid for lodging for 3 nights at the Gorge. For 4 nights at the Gorge.
4 nights at the Gorge, and we're in.
Oh, it's too bad your Skype chose to broke up right at that moment. I think you can now
officially say.
So yes, I said pick up where I just said. I said basically that I have lodging for 4 nights.
Yep, and then you're also in the plan for some tickets too. So I think at this point you can say you are going to the Gorge.
Well, it is entirely possible that I flip those lodging tickets for over face.
Lodging?
Yeah, my room that I've reserved, I could flip that last minute, and I could make some coin.
I don't think that's possible.
Yes.
Just say it.
I am going to the Gorge this year. All 3
Woo-hoo!
shows. So 2 years ago was it. I hit 75 shows. That was going to be it. And all things being equal, Boyd, original setlist variety, how it sounds without Ants, I was okay with that decision the beginning of this tour. I was like, okay, I made the right choice in 16. It's like the Sounders. I've been a season ticket holder for 6 years. They suck this year. And guess what I did last year? Canceled my tickets because they were getting lousy. And I'm sitting there looking at this lousy team like, yeah, I made the right choice. So the first part of this tour, I was not feeling bad about leaving it at 75. But, I guess I'll be there. I'll bring some beer. I'll bring some really good beer, too.
Matt's going to the Gorge. Woo!
All right, yeah.
That's the best news. And what do you attribute to anything particular? Is it just pressure from Joe? Is it the set lists? Is it what? People?
You bugging me.
That's what you attribute
That's
it
not the
to?
way I put it. Your pressure from Joe, and my wife has never been to a Dave Matthews Band show and wants to see what it's all about.
I'm so excited for her to go.
Yeah. I mean, I want her to see what it's all about too.
Yeah.
But if she was indifferent about it, it would have been me trying to convince you to say the heck with the Gorge, just come out and hang for Labor Day weekend. And I know that wouldn't. I know that wouldn't have worked. And I wouldn't have been upset.
You would put me in a tough position.
I know. I wouldn't do that to you. It's fine.
Look at all the people that are giving you love in the chat here. That want you to see you at the Gorge.
Are we renting a pontoon boat?
That has been in the discussions. We do not have Captain.
He's not coming?
Captain is not coming.
I'm sad now. I'm gonna rethink
Well, maybe
this.
he will now that you're coming. Maybe more people will add it.
He just said I won't have to worry about him sinking the boat this year. Let me tell you something. iPhone 10 is at least somewhat waterproof. Thank goodness.
Oh wait, he's saying he's flying now. Maybe some people added just because.
There it is, right? So you got a rare appearance by a fan. The rare songs sell more tickets. Rare fans sell more tickets. It'll be fun. Maybe we'll
I think it'll add a
stub.
lot more credibility to your stance going to the shows. I gotten a couple comments. He's got to go to a show before he can say some stuff, and there's something to be said about
Fair
that. So
fair.
yeah, but at some point you got to pull the plug, right? If you've been going to shows and you're unhappy, you're allowed to say something and not have to keep going to shows just to hold your opinion, right? So
I am more excited about it now with the recent set list. Honest to goodness, I was for a while I was holding my nose. Like, I know I harp on the $125 thing, but it's not like $125 for a ticket is nothing. It's a significant amount of money. Now bring a seatmate, and that's $250. You know, so it's not nothing. So I'm sitting there thinking, two mindsets. The first 22 shows of the tour, the band does not deserve my $250 a show. They don't. And so I was looking at Gorge off in the distance on the horizon in that context, and I was kind of seething over it. Like,
in the ×3 context.
That's the thing. It's like, I want to go and hang out with my friends. But listen, if I could go there and party and tailgate and then skip the concerts, I'd love to. That was where I was at that point. Now that they're introducing some variety, okay, Dave Matthews Band, welcome back. Like, here we go. Okay. And so now I'm on board. I am.
I'm so excited. I hope that we keep this energy going. We have a long time until the Gorge gets here.
Yeah,
so
the
I'm
wheels
hoping
can still fall off.
High. We are going to turn Matt. Everybody, we are going to turn Matt.
I am going to start my own version of the family.
What would that be?
I don't know. What would we call this? Everything's
the modern
great.
DMB Modern Family.
Yes, let's do that. Everything's great. Everything's best band ever. I think somebody. Can I just go back to make it to look at the extremes on the spectrum? Is that someone in the chat really early on? I wasn't going to call them out because it was fair, but the reaction was just too much, and I couldn't wait. So somebody, I won't name by name, they came in early on and said SPAC Night 2 was the greatest set list I've ever seen. And I wasn't sure if that was if sarcastic or serious, but if that's serious, you kind of got to turn your eye up at it. Right? You got a little Dave eyebrow. So Larry Boa himself, an usher for the community. Let's put it that way. This guy is in emeritus, if not in stub. And he says, is this your first tour, Brian? I mean, everybody can have an opinion, but let's not get crazy. Like, fair response to that. Mm-hmm. And then this gentleman says to Larry Boa, not here to argue. And I didn't, take that. And so then Larry Boa says, what other SPAC shows have you been to, Brian? Genuinely asking. Mm-hmm. The guy says, he ruined it. I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah. So
couldn't have a conversation. That's all. It wasn't even critical. It was just couldn't have a conversation.
In case that snowflake is out there, I hope you're having a good night. My goodness. Total melt job by Larry Boa, the captain, just sinking everybody's ship.
He just wanted to know. He just wanted to get some context. Tell me, what shows have you been to? I mean, if it's your first show and you say it's the best one ever, okay, great.
Okay.
It's the best one ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
If you've been to 200 shows and you say it's the best one ever, you're going to have to give me some more meat to that bone on why that is.
Yeah. Yep. It's interesting. I've seen comments
It's
that
fun to
two
talk.
step.
We're here to talk about it.
Right.
If we can't talk about it, what's the point?
You know, there's a lot of stuff that's not perfect and happy in this world, and if you need to be on 100 all the time, that everything is magical, you're going to be very disappointed. So, you know, I hope we got a good balance. I mean, I'm feeling better. I hope I've come off a little better, you know, a little more positive this episode, because I'm more encouraged. I am encouraged. Good. I'm cautious, right? We've seen spikes and then we've seen lulls follow those spikes. I don't think we're there. I think I am cautiously optimistic for the remainder of this tour. I am. There's not a lot left. There's a few 2-night stands. There's the Gorge. There's some.
That's the depressing part, actually. Oh, SPAC was so depressing because I was like, man, we've hit the downslope. Everyone's like, this is my last show. You don't have like, oh, I have a show coming up. That's depressing, unfortunately.
My wallet wouldn't agree. And my wife probably wouldn't agree, but I am jealous of you because it hits me is that since I moved out west 9 years ago, there are not 12 shows within a 6-hour drive of me.
Yeah. The East Coast, you can, if you live right in the East Coast, East area, you know, whatever, call it
the Northeast, New
York.
Upstate New York. I was like 6 hours away from like 11 shows most of the years.
Yep.
And if it was hanging out with Berner and Mendelsohn out there in Rochester and then going to Blossom and meeting you, like you had your little local friends too that you always see at every show.
Yep.
So I'm jealous of that, Joe. I was watching Saratoga, and you know the set list really didn't come into it at all. When I say I had a feeling of jealousy, I wish I was there hanging out with all you guys. That's got nothing to do with the set. I just wish I could have been there hanging out with my friends and family. Yeah.
If I managed this band, what you just described is what I would be playing all over. I would be all about this. I would be doing warehouse ticketing where I want groups of people to be able to sit together. Let's get all these people that haven't seen each other or want to do this. You want to hang out with Greg or whoever, you know, let them all sit together. It's going to feed this machine, feed this fire. Everyone's get to enjoy it together. At Deer Creek, I sat near uppers all the way to the far side, like couldn't even see half the stage, just so we could have 6 tickets together.
Yep.
Which was awesome. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I wanted to be with the group. And I think if you could join groups, when you submit your ticket request and you could say, hey, I made a little group and I want, 5 people can make their request and pick them to this group, and we're all going to be able to sit together, but our credit cards are charged separately. Those would be amazing. And it's the code and the technology to do that is so we could write it over the weekend.
Monetarily, what do they have to lose too? I mean,
it would be so much fun. We have
Yeah.
You could watch it with your friends. I wish that piece that we all love, what you just described, that you miss from the East Coast. I wish that we could feed that better. And that is the one thing that Ants, I think, still can do for this community, is help connect fans that want to do those things together. And we're going to keep doing it until there's a better way.
Yeah, I'm going to keep pushing with the hub and try to make that more personal. We've got some other ideas Joe was bringing up to me earlier today about tying in with your personal listening history and your concert attendance history, and tying in that more and fleshing that out too. So we got a lot of stuff on the docket for the hub, and we'll keep on adding shows as well. We're so glad that y'all been liking it. But I think
thank you guys, all the people that say comments about the podcast or the app when I run into you at shows. So many people just want to say thank you, and they run off. Like they don't even stop to chat. They're like, and somebody on the streets of Saratoga, I wish I remember what they said. They said something. They said some comment to me. They're like, I don't want to remember, but it was totally on your side of the argument. It was something like blah blah blah. I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what Matt would be saying right now. And I was like, I will let Matt know you said that. And I can't remember what it was, but they just yelled it at me as they walked by, and they didn't even stop to talk. I was like, what just happened? So
people are essentially randomly screaming out, Matt is correct, just at you?
That's what it was. Matt Joe was wrong. But thank you guys.
Now I really want to be at these shows.
Keeps us motivated, though, so thank you. Thank you for all the app comments. Thank you for all the podcast comments.
It really does, yeah. And thanks for joining us on YouTube. If you like it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll look forward to that. And we'll look forward to the next one. I mean, we've probably only got a couple left until Labor Day. I mean, 2-3 more episodes maybe, and then it's the Gorge weekend.
You get kind of excited that we might be able to do some unique stuff, maybe with some when we're together out there.
I am
related to podcasts or videos or streaming
YouTube,
or
live something. Yeah, I am gonna bring it. Gonna bring the gear. Gonna bring the drone. We'll see how that works out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was wondering, did you have the drone last time we were at the Gorge?
No.
I was gonna say, I was like, why didn't we use that?
No, I did not. Well, that was I did not know. I got it at the beginning of 2017, so that was a year off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Darn. Well, all right, we got a new toy.
All right. It's been episode 95 of the AntsPodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram. We're on Facebook too. Or right at antsmarching.org. Download the DMB Hub app on iPhone for free on the iOS App Store. Thanks all again for joining. Joe, thank you for taking time out of your touring schedule, and we'll see y'all later.